Let me share my screen. Okay. So let's start from beginning today for API-led connectivity. Okay. So far, whatever we have discussed, you are clear with that, right? Like global error handling. So you got an idea how error handling works. Okay. How to generate flows from RAML. Okay. How to use RAML as a dependency. All these points you understood, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
today we will create proper projects. Okay, proper API-led connectivity based projects. Okay, so let me delete everything. Okay. See. So this resource I don't need it. Okay. Okay. See, from this itself, I'll be creating project. Okay. So once API specification is done and we publish it to Exchange. Okay. See RAML part, whatever resource types or libraries that can be used in RAML part, we'll discuss it at the end. Okay. So let's not be stuck at design level itself. Okay. Let's get into some coding first. Then we can discuss at the end of the training. Okay. Okay, so this is published. So here, while creating project, you need to create a mule project. Okay, so there are two more options here: project from template and project from example. Okay, so this once we create these three layer projects first, then we can discuss on setting standards and then publish them as templates to Exchange. Okay, I'll show that also. So here naming, we have to follow some naming convention. Okay, so basically for project names, few companies follow naming convention like layer name. Okay, okay, hyphen then API name. Okay, then hyphen version. Okay, so most of them, they won't use version at in API name. Okay, they use only this much: layer name and API name. Okay, so layer name is experience and API name is menu list. Okay, menu list API. Okay, so here let's import a published API. Okay, so I have published the design API specification from design center to Exchange. Okay, so let's import a published API. Okay, from Exchange. So here I need to search for menu list API. So if you have this RAML already, you can do it along with me. Okay.
So it is menu list API, right?
Yeah, menu list API. Okay, so EXP menu list API. I had also shown you, right, while publishing, if suppose if you are part of multiple business groups, you can publish to all business groups. Okay, so this is an interview question. Okay, what they will ask is okay, so what they'll ask is like if you want to publish your API specification to different, if you are part of three different business groups. Okay, and if you want to publish your API specification to two or three different business groups, how do you do it? So while publishing, there is an option to select to which business group you are publishing. Okay, so if you are part of 3 business groups, this drop down option will be enabled. Okay, and you can select to which business group you are trying to publish. Okay, so that way you can publish. Okay, here I have added the API specification as dependency from Exchange. Okay, so once you click on finish, it will automatically scaffold. Scaffold in the sense, like whatever API specification you have given, it will generate flows from that API specification. Okay. Okay, so this is the API project that is generated. Okay, now see what is the design. Like let's say we have one existing service. Okay, which will give this response. Okay, so this is a web service URL. Okay, if I hit this web service, it will give me this response. Okay, but in my app I only need few details. Okay, I only need details like item ID, title, price, is veg or not, image URL, and description. Only these fields out of these many fields. Okay, so that means I need to transform this message. Okay, so in experience layer, so what I can do, so experience layer, since it is a client facing application, I don't want to put more logic in that. Okay, the job of experience layer is it just need to forward whatever is uh, coming from experience layer to process layer. Okay, so it just needs to forward whatever is coming from experience layer to process layer.
And Jagdish, one doubt here.
Yeah.
Which is the best process for starting from experience layer or starting from system layer?
See, in real time, you won't be doing all APIs. Okay, you will have a team. Okay, so
Okay.
you will be working on experience. Different person will be working on process, and different person will be working on system API.
Mhm.
Okay, so in real time, it won't be like you will be doing everything. Okay, but while learning, you have to do everything. So that, for example, let's say if you have been given system layer to work on, you can know what questions to ask.
Mhm.
Okay, so like you have to learn all 3 layers. Okay, in real time, anyone can work on any API.
But there is a dependency, right? If someone
Yeah,
working on
dependency will be there. Yeah, dependency will be. That is why you have API specifications. Now, see, you have created experience API specification so that mobile application developer is dependent on you, and now he has one mock URL and a
Mhm.
exchange documentation to refer.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
So similarly, if I want to develop experience API, whom will I be sending the request to? Process API. So whoever is developing process API, they need to give me one API specification with sample request and response.
Okay.
Okay, so if I'm working on system process API, system layer guy should give me API specification. So that means you will be creating API specification for all 3 layers. Okay, but you will only be using experience layer API specification because that is the most important one, as it is client facing application.
And also in all cases, experience layer is not required, right? Maybe some cases directly they can use
Correct.
process
Yeah.
layer.
Yeah. So it depends, like how many, like what type of APIs you are using. So I told, right, modules. For example, let's say menu list. Okay, so menu is a client facing module. Okay, orders is also client facing module. Okay, orders is also client facing module. Then you have something called
Payment.
alerts. Alerts
Yes.
or payments. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Alerts. Okay, alerts is not client facing model. Okay, module.
Customer base.
Payments is also not see, payments is still client facing module, because you need to update the payment confirmation back to UI.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep it with alert. Okay, for menu you might need experience, process, and system, all three layers. Okay, for orders you may be needing only order experience and then direct systems, because what will be there, you just need to query database, transform it into JSON, and then respond back to experience. Okay, for that you don't have to query in system layer and transform in process. Okay, you can directly query in system, transform into JSON in system layer itself, and then respond back to experience layer. Okay, you don't need process layer here. Okay, so for alerts you only need system layer. Okay, so what you need to do for alerts, like if the delivery date or delivery time is nearing by, you need to send out SMS alerts and email alerts. Okay, so it's not dependent on experience or process anywhere. Okay, it only needs one layer, system layer. That's it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, understood, right?
Yeah, thank you.
So this way, depending on the requirement, you can decide how many layers you need. Okay, since we are taking this module, we need experience, process, and system. We will also build SMS alerts application. Okay, so there is one account that you need to create in Twilio. Okay, so you'll have to create a account in Twilio, so free trial account. So using this, we can send out SMS alerts. Okay, okay. So this for menu we need these three layers. Okay, so I have created API specification for experience layer. Okay, for process layer and system layer I need to create. Okay, see, eventually request and response will be same for all three layers. Okay, only thing is logic that we write inside might change. Okay, and maybe, like sometimes maybe request or response might change in between layers like process and system. Okay, so but for now let's keep it like a request and response are same. Okay, so to create another API specification from the existing API specification, go here, click on duplicate. Okay, so here you can give PRC menu list hyphen API. Okay, so duplicate this project. Okay, so this is PRC. Okay, so remaining everything is same. Okay, so I'll publish this to Exchange. Okay, the same goes for system layer also. Okay, system layer also you can do the same thing. Okay, see, so now I'm done with the process and system layer API specification as well. So I'll create new projects for them. Okay, so process layer, I'll import the API specification from Exchange.
Hello, sir. Can you provide the menu list link and chat box?
Sorry,
Menu list response link, sir.
response link. Okay, okay. Yeah, I have pasted in the chat. Okay. Okay. See, if you check here, see, even though I have given PRC menu list API, the XML file it has generated, it names as experience menu list API. Reason is I have cloned from experience API specification, right? The RAML name remains same. Okay. Whatever is the RAML name, that name you will get it in the XML generated. Okay. So this you can rename it. Okay, like you can rename it as API.xml. Okay, but anyway, again, if you generate flows from RAML, it will again create a new file. Okay. So if possible, do it along with me. Okay. Okay. See, we have created these three applications, right? So here, for example, let's say you will be deploying these applications to on-premise environment. Okay. Mule runtime, right? See, in runtime, this is where you deploy your applications in runtime manager. Okay. While deploying, you may deploy to on-premise environment. That means your private Mule server set. Okay, so that we call it as on-premise environment. Okay, in each server you will have MRE Mule runtime environment and Java runtime environment installed. Okay, so if you deploy your applications in on-premise environments, okay, so you cannot run these applications parallel. Reason is, see, for each listener configuration. Okay, so if you take the experience layer listener configuration, port that is used is 8081. Okay. If you take the process layer one, The port that is configured is 8081. Okay, so you will get address already bind error. Okay, address already in use or binding error. Okay, so you cannot run all these three applications parallelly using different HTTP listener configurations. Okay, you need to maintain same HTTP listener configuration for all three applications. Okay, so that you can achieve by using a domain project. Okay, you need to create a domain project if you want to deploy API led connectivity based applications in on-premise application. You need to share that listener configuration across multiple projects. Okay, in order to achieve that, you need to create a new domain project. Okay, whereas if you are trying to deploy it in Cloud Hub, you cannot use domain projects. Okay, domain project is nothing but shared resources. Okay, shared resources. Okay, so what does shared resources mean? For example, if you have same connector configuration with same connection details and everything that is being configured across multiple applications, you don't have to repeat those configurations again and again, defining those configurations again and again. You can create a simple like a single domain project. Okay, single domain project, and you can configure everything here. Okay, see under manage modules, add all the modules here. Okay, like whatever modules you need. If you want to create HTTP configuration, create it here. If you want to create email configuration, create it here. Okay, if you want to create database configuration, check the module. Okay, check this module that you want to create. HTTP email database. Okay, I select these three for now. Okay, I have added these modules. Okay, unless until you add the modules, you cannot see those connector configurations in this. Okay, see, I have not added MongoDB. Okay, so I can't see MongoDB. I cannot create MongoDB connector configuration here. Okay, because this domain project does not involve module related to MongoDB. Okay, so I'll have to select MongoDB again. Okay, only then I'll be able to create a configuration for that MongoDB connector. Okay, so now we need to create HTTP listener configuration. Okay, for this, as of now, I'm keeping default settings. Okay, I'm not changing anything. So what are the default settings? In default settings, you don't have any base path, you don't have any listeners or anything. Okay, interceptors or anything. Okay, so basic settings like port is default 8081. Okay, so HTTP domain listener config, I'll name it like this. Okay, so if I want to use this domain project in all my projects, I need to use it as a Maven dependency. Okay, so Maven is something like a central repository. Okay, so what is the purpose of Maven is, for example, let's say you are building three different projects. Okay, three different projects. Okay, and each of them might be for different purpose, like one may be for orders, one may be for menu. Okay, one may be for alerts, for three different types of modules. Okay, but I want to use a functionality, okay, which is not related to MuleSoft, or which is not related to any other like internal projects. Okay, so I want to use functionality of external project. Okay, so what I can do, I can download a jar copy of that module that I want to use in my projects, and I can refer that jar in all three projects separately. Okay, so there is an option here, like if you right click on your project and if you go to build path, you can add external jar files. Okay, you can still add external jar files. That means you will have to download the jar files separately. For example, let's say I want to use MySQL JDBC jar. Okay, JDBC driver. Okay, so if I want to use this MySQL JDBC driver, okay, I can download the jar file and use it. Okay, I can download the jar file here and then use this jar file. Okay, I can refer that jar file in the build path, like simply clicking add external jars. Okay, but instead of using that, like what it will do is, if I do this way, while I export this project, right? See, when I export this project to deploy, so I will have to include those libraries in this jar file in the generated deployable archive. Okay, so which will increase the deployable archive size. Okay, and it is unnecessary, like you don't have to rework like redo this thing again and again for each and every project. Okay, so instead what Maven helps you to do is, like, it gives a lookup functionality. Okay, using your project configuration file. Okay, we call it as POM file. Okay, using a POM file, okay, using a POM file, you can do a coordinated search in the sense, what are all the details you need to search is, you need artifact ID. Okay, you need group ID. Okay, then you need version. Okay, you need these three things. Okay, if you give these three things using pom.xml, it will be able to search in a central repository. Okay, central repository where it will have all the jar files that you need. Okay, it will be able to search in this. Okay, in central repository. Okay, so this central repository, we call it as Maven. Okay, so this way you can organize the dependencies in your project easily. Okay, so if you check here, for Maven jar file also, like group ID is MySQL, artifact ID is MySQL connector Java, and version is this one. The reason you need these three values to identify a jar is, like, see, this MySQL connector Java can be developed by anyone. Whoever knows Java, they can develop it and publish it. Okay, from their company. For example, let's say Epicero is there. So Epicero also may have MySQL connector Java. Okay, with the same version. Okay, so using group ID, it can distinguish. If group ID says com.epicero, that means this jar file belongs to epicero.com. If group ID says MySQL, then this jar file belongs to official MySQL Java driver. Okay, so that is how you can pinpoint which jar you want to load it from the Maven repository. Okay, understood, right? Hello. Yeah, okay. So every project will have pom.xml. Okay, so this is what this is where you need to give all the dependency details. Okay, so even though you don't provide any dependency details, by default it will generate one POM file. Okay, for each project. Okay, each project will have this POM file. Okay, so here as a general practice, modify this group ID from com.mycompany to your desired company, like okay, so modify the group ID. Okay, so once you modify the group ID, you need to build this project. Okay, so that means, let me show you. See, this is the local Maven repository. Okay, by default it will be there in username and .m2 folder. Okay, inside repository, like com, and I have given mule bytes, right? Com.mule bytes. Okay, com.mule bytes is not there yet. Okay, okay, let's see in my company also, it's not there. Okay, mule bytes folder itself is not there. Okay, if I run a command now, okay, if I run mvn clean install command, what it will do, it will populate this uh, repository. See, now I got this mule bytes. Okay, then I got this my domain. Okay, whatever artifact id I have given, my hyphen domain. Okay, my hyphen domain, version number, version. Inside this version I have the jar file. Okay, so if I execute this command, it will populate my local repository. Okay, now I can use this as a dependency. Okay, now I can use this as a dependency. Okay, so here I need to go to my experience layer, right click on my experience layer. Okay, you can use there are some, there is something. Okay, yeah, mule project. Okay, you can click on this mule project. Okay, or else you do this, right click, manage modules, click on mule project here. Okay, instead of default domain, you can select this domain, my hyphen domain. Okay, and then click on apply and close. Okay, so if you check the project pom file here, that belongs to this experience menu list API. Let's open this. So it has added this dependency automatically. Okay, so now I don't have to use HTTP listener configuration that is there here. Okay, I'll delete this HTTP listener configuration. Okay, see here, I got the domain listener configuration. Okay, so similarly do the same thing for process layer also. Okay, so domain project is set up. Okay, for using HTTP listener. Okay, so understood right till now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so with respect to why we need to use domain project and what is the purpose of this, you understood right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So if I run this project now, so alone I won't be able to deploy it. Okay, so using a single project, like even if I run now, so it should complain something about domain. Okay, okay, so it has picked up a domain project now. Then you should. Mhm. Okay, so it's 1.2. Okay.
Check this, just a question. So we are using the mule domain configuration just to reuse the connector configurations, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So while running the project, you can run the domain project directly. Okay. Run as mule application configure, and here you can select which layer to deploy, like which application to deploy. Okay. So I want to select all three applications.
Okay.
Since all three projects are using same HTTP listener configuration, now it will not complain about address already in use error, like these kind of errors. Okay. Or else what you would have done is like you will have to give different port numbers for each API and then deploy the APIs. Okay. Which is not a good practice to manage. Okay. So, but by using domain projects, you can deploy. So this is in case of on-premise. Okay. See, in on-premise, it is single virtual environment, right? So you only have one single virtual environment. For example, if I deploy these applications in my laptop, this is a single machine. Okay. In this single machine, I can't reserve a port, same port for multiple applications. Okay. Just a second. Okay, HTTP connector version also I need to update. Okay, so on-premise environment is nothing but a single server. Okay, so in single server you cannot deploy multiple applications with same port number unless until you have a shared resource or shared configuration like domain project. Okay, whereas in Cloud Hub shared resources won't work. Okay, because we don't know like each application in which server it is getting deployed. Cloud is a vast environment. Okay, so it has numerous servers in a data center, and the application can be deployed in any of those servers in the data center. Okay, but they will have a common URL. Okay, so that means whatever port you use, even though it's a duplicate port with other applications, it should work. Okay, so in Cloud Hub you cannot use domain projects. You can use domain project only in on-premise. Like the other question, like in interview they might also ask you like what is shared resources and what is the purpose of shared resource. Shared resource is nothing but a domain project. The purpose of domain project is you can reuse connector configurations across multiple applications. Okay, and you can deploy domain project based applications only in on-premise. You cannot deploy in Cloud Hub. Okay, reason is on-premise will have dedicated servers. Okay, whereas Cloud Hub will have dynamic range of servers. Okay, like we don't know where the application is getting deployed. It just Cloud Hub, one single umbrella. That's it. See here. In one of the API, I'm still using 8081 port. Okay. So it is complaining that it's overlapping. So that's why it has failed deploying system API. Okay, so I didn't change the business configuration reference. Understood, right? Like why you need HTTP like domain project now. So if I use same port across multiple applications, it will start complaining message like this. Okay, like port is already occupied or already exists. Okay, so it has started system. Okay, there is some error, but still started. Okay, so then so far clear, right? Like how to use domain project and how to deploy applications using domain project in any point studio, and how to manage modules inside domain project to create configuration. These things you are clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, Jagdish.
Okay. So
And,
now,
sir, I have doubt actually.
yeah.
If we use any database connector also across three, so in that case
Yeah.
also we need to create the same, right?
Yeah. So you can create any number of configurations and any type of configurations, which is useful for other projects also. Okay. If you, for example, let's say if you're using database only in one single application across all your API list. Okay. So then you don't have to put that database configuration in domain project. Okay. You can simply create it in that particular project alone. Okay. But if you have any configuration that is being shared by more than one projects, then you need to add it in domain project so that it will be easier to manage.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so now coming to project structure. Okay, see, as per standards, it's better to externalize this API specification, which we have already done as a dependency. So we don't have any API specification files in source main resources so that no one could tamper with that. Okay. Second thing is, like, you should always separate your logic in three different types. Okay, three different XMLs. One is config.xml. Okay. Config.xml. Okay. So in this config.xml, you should have only configurations. Okay. So here, if you go to global elements, you have this router configuration. Okay. You need to have this configuration here. Okay. So if I copy paste this configuration directly, okay, in XML, so it won't be able to understand. Okay. So it won't be able to understand because there is no namespace. Okay. When I copy pasted, like before I copy pasted here. Okay. If there is a namespace here, then you can copy paste. Else, it is always recommended like you need to create from here and then you should add it. Okay. Let's see what is the okay. So I already have this configuration here, so that's why it's saying duplicate configuration. Name must be unique. Okay. So keep this config.xml only for configurations. Okay. Then this API.xml. Okay. It should have only this flow list. There should be no any logic. Okay. There should not be any logic. Okay. Then create one XML for error handle. Okay, like errors.xml or something. Okay. Okay, so create one XML for error handling. Okay, so whatever error handling that is generated default by default, you don't need that. Okay, delete that error handling logic. Okay, for example, in your project, if there is a requirement to have error handling specific to these flows, then you can keep them. Okay, else they are not needed. Okay, so you define a global error handler here. Okay, so first let's properly structure our projects. Okay, then I'll explain how to externalize all these common logic into a single jar file. Okay. Okay, for now I'll simply give one transform message for any type of errors. I'll simply give this message, okay, for understanding purpose. Okay, so this is the for project structure that you need to maintain. Okay. Okay, so now experience layer is structured. Okay, so I don't have any error handling lying here and there. I have them properly organized here. Okay, I don't have any configurations in any other XMLs except config.xml. Okay, so everything is structured now. Okay, so now let's call process layer from experience layer. Okay, so here in API.xml, you should have main flow, you should have console flow, and you should have flows that is generated from RAM. Okay, you should not write any logic in API.xml. Okay, for that you need to create another main configuration file called logic.xml. Okay, you can name these XMLs however you want. Okay, but just for the sake of coding standards, I'm explaining this. Okay, so here you need to write another flow. Okay, and you should name that flow after this resource method followed by implementation. Okay, so that means get menu list logic flow. Okay, so this. So here what I need to have, I need to have a HTTP request. Okay, because whatever request I get, I simply forward it to process layer. Okay, so I need to have a HTTP request. So here I don't want to create configuration. I'll create configuration here. Okay, in config.xml. So here I want to create HTTP request configuration. Okay. So process layer will also be running in the same system as experience layer. So that's why I'll give localhost. Okay. For example, let's say if process layer is being deployed in different server compared to experience layer, then you need to give the host name of that server that where the process layer is running. Okay, so for now both are running in the same system, so that's why I'm giving host as localhost for process layer. The port for process layer is same as experience layer, which is 808. Okay, so that's it. So I have created the HTTP request configuration. In logic, just refer this. Okay, so same get method only. Okay, and you need to have path here. Okay, So path is basically same API / menu list. Okay, so this is the path. Okay, so in experience layer, you just configure request calling process API. Okay, so error handling is handled by global error handler, but you are not referring this global error handler anywhere. So you need to go to config.xml again, create a global configuration, okay, and refer that global error handler. Okay, now this experience layer is complete. Okay, so it has everything it needs. So it has the API specification added as dependency. It has we have grouped logic in different mule configuration files depending on the purpose. Okay, so for whatever main flows and flows that are generated from YAML are there, I have written them in API.xml. Okay, for whatever flows, if I want to create only configurations, I am writing them in config.xml. If I want to write exception strategies, I am writing them in errors.xml. Okay, if I want to write logic, I'm writing it in logic.xml. Okay, so in API.xml, I don't want this static data view. So I just need to invoke the logic.xml using flow reference. Okay, this one. I just need to invoke that login.xml flow. Okay. So far clear, right? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any doubts in this?
Sir, just now you have done this invoking, right? Can you show it again?
This one.
Yes.
So here, this flow is written written in this logic.xml here. Okay, in logic.xml, I am forwarding that request to process layer.
Okay.
Okay, so one more thing is, as a practice, okay, so in your listener, better have this API name as a path. Okay, so like exp hyphen menu list hyphen API / star. Okay, so that it will be easier to identify. Okay, so if I deploy all 3 layers at once, okay, and if I hit the same URL, like it doesn't know, it creates ambiguity, it doesn't know where to send that request. Okay, so always maintain a naming convention like this: exp menu list API star, like this. Okay, so similarly, same thing for process also. PRC menu list API star. Okay, so do the same thing for all other APIs. Okay, for console also you can do the same thing. Okay, so now in request again you need to change it. Okay, because we have modified the resource path right here. So here you need to give PRC menu list hyphen API. Okay, got it right? Hello.
Yes, JV.
Yeah, okay. So this is with respect to experience API. Okay. So coming to process API. Yeah. So process API, like the purpose of process API is, for example, let's say from the web service, I get this response. Okay. This is the response that I get from web service. Okay. In system layer, I need to call that web service. Okay, because there may be other process or experience layers that that needs to include invoke the system API. So that's why I'm writing that web service logic in system API. Okay, so here from system API, I get this much information. Okay, straight away from the backend web service. Okay, but for client application, I need to send only few details. Okay, I don't want to send complete details. Okay. So that transformation logic, I need to write it in process layer. Okay. So the transformation logic, I need to write it in process layer. Okay. So instead of process layer, first come to system layer, then let's concentrate on process layer. Okay. So here also same thing. So delete everything here. Okay. Create config.xml. So if your project starts from scratch, you will have to do all these things, everything manually. Okay, but once you decide what logic should be present in which layer, then you can create templates. Okay, so we will be doing that later. Okay, so once we are done with our coding, once we decide what logic should go in which API, we can create those as templates, so that next time when you build all three layers, you don't have to do it from scratch. You can directly create a project from template or example.
Hello.
Okay. So here in config.xml, so another one is rest.xml. Okay. So for now, I'm giving any and then giving a static message. Okay, I'll explain why.
No, it's system layer, right, Jagdish? You mentioned process layer. Errors.
Sorry, I forgot. Okay. So here I have this logic here. Okay. So here I need to call that web service. Okay. Okay, so you can use HTTP request in two ways. Okay, one is you can create a connector configuration, refer the connector configuration, and mention path and method alone. Okay. Second option is select the method and give the complete URL at once. Okay. So now you don't need any configuration. Okay. So you can use HTTP request in either of these ways. Okay. So this I have given. Okay. From here, we need to invoke the okay. So system layer is also done. Okay. So in logic.xml, I have put one call to backend service. That's it. Okay. So now coming to process layer, let's clean up everything. You will be calling system layer. Okay. So you need one config.xml. Okay. Always give meaningful names in display name, because so that it will be easier to understand. Okay. So let's say I have received this response from system layer. Okay. So I need to generate a response in process layer. Okay. So I need to do the transformation here. Okay. So client will share the sample response that you get. Okay. From backend web service. Okay. You will have to do the transformation on top of this backend response. Okay. So what are all the fields that mobile app developer can accept or needed is they need item ID, title, price, usage, image URL, and description. Only these 6 fields he need. Okay. So let's paste this here. Okay. So and that too, he doesn't need it in data, all these things. Okay. So not responding. Okay. So here, what I need item ID. Okay. Item ID, payload dot, data dot. Let me give item type ID for now. Okay. So I need title. Payload dot, data dot, title. Okay. price. Data. Yes. Okay, so this is the mapping. Okay, since this is a collection, right? Payload.data is a collection. Okay, so I'm getting all these values in an array. Okay, so this is not the recommended format. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to have like you need to iterate over this collection. Okay, so in data view we have a function called map. Okay, so in map you can use it in two ways. Okay, you can use payload.data map, then wherever you see payload.data you can simply mention that as dollar. Okay, dollar. Dollar in the sense it depends on scope where you are using it. Okay, if you are using dollar inside a map, that means current record. Okay, whereas if you use dollar, it means index of that record. Like if I give dollar here, for first record it will show item ID 0. For second record it will show 1, like this. Okay, so if I use dollar plus 1, then it will show 1, 2, 3 like this. Okay, so let's give this formula. Okay, so this is one way you can use map. Okay, or you can write a lambda function. Okay, that means you can decide what names you want to give to dollar and dollar. Okay, so like current item. Okay, comma index. Okay, so wherever you see dollar, you need to give current item. Okay, wherever you see dollar, you need to give it as current item. Wherever you see dollar, you need to use index. Okay, so these are the two ways you can write. Okay, you can write map function. Okay, we'll discuss more about data view when we concentrate on data. Okay, so this is the mapping that I need to put here. Okay, okay, so this is the mapping that I have done. Okay, so in API.xml I just need to call that function. Okay. So let me create another handler. Okay, now it's done. I need to refer this error handler here. Okay. So far clear, right? See, in experience layer, I simply have a logic to forward it to process layer. Okay. In process layer, I have logic to forward it to system layer. Once I get the response from system layer, I'm transforming it again to format that experience layer needs. Okay. Then in system layer, I am invoking the backend web service. Okay. So far clear, right? How this is set up as of now?
Yeah, Jagdish.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, Jagdish.
So let me deploy this domain application. Okay. Now it's complaining for console. Okay. So see, for console, even if your listener path is same, right? It will complain. So console star is already there in all APIs. Okay. So that's why I renamed the resource path. Okay. Yes. exp hyphen analyst hyphen API slash analyst. Okay. So there is an error in experience here. Okay. So it is asking for client secret. Okay. And the send value. Okay, so while testing, right, it's better recommended to test from system layer onwards. Okay, so that you can be sure that you are getting response for each layer. Okay. Okay. So here we are getting response. Okay. Some error occurred in process layer. Okay. Reason is C. For process layer, sorry, for system layer, I'm sending only this URL from process layer. Okay. I'm not forwarding any headers. I'm not forwarding any query parameters. Nothing is there. Okay. So that's why it is failing with internal server error. Okay. So what we can do, So here you need to configure the headers. Okay. So go here. Okay. So these things like if you don't want to give the headers inside the HTTP request like this, like everything written here, you can create a variable. Okay. You can create variables in database. Okay. And you can refer that variable here. So similarly, same goes for storage. Okay. Let this do. So that's started. Now if I hit the process layer URL, I'm getting the response. Okay. So whatever I have done here in process layer, I need to do the same thing in experience layer also. Okay. While sending the request, I need to send. Okay. See, at this point of time, like you need to have some imagination. Like, see here, I'm not doing anything with the message here. Okay, as soon as I receive, I'm simply calling for this logic flow. Okay, by the time it reaches the logic flow, it has not changed anything. Okay, so you can simply give attributes.headers. Okay, then attributes.query parameters. That means whatever you have received, you can send them as is. Okay, so you don't have to explicitly mention. Okay, so I have shown both how you can customize, like mentioning the headers, or how you can simply forward whatever you have received. Okay, both you can do it. Just a second. Hello.
Yes, checks. Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any doubts? Now I can directly hit experience layer and get the response. Okay. See, if I hit the experience layer, so it will forward the request to process. In process, it will call system layer, get the actual response, and then transform it back to the response that I'm seeing now and return it back to experience layer. So this is what going on with respect to API-led connectivity. Okay. So understood, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any questions with respect to this?
I have a doubt. For system APIs, whether we need to give headers or not.
Yeah, you have to give, like, see, your main focus should not be about what I am writing in this. Okay, your main focus with respect to API-led connectivity is when you need to create experience layer, when you need to create process layer, when you need to create a system layer. Okay, and what type of logic you should write in each layer. Okay, in experience layer, I have not written any type of logic. Okay, I am simply calling process layer directly. Okay, in process layer, I am calling system layer to get some information so that it can help to generate a final response that I want to give it back to experience layer. Okay, so these are the things you need to focus. Okay, either passing the headers is not, if I'm passing headers or not, like it's up to, it's based on this requirement basically. For example, let's say system layer might not need any type of headers or query parameters. Okay, you just need to invoke the system layer, get the response, and work on that response to transform it into a final payload. That's it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have one doubt regarding that Maven dependency.
Okay.
We created a domain project. Inside that we have created a HTTP connector, right?
Correct. Yeah.
We have used that in all the projects that we created.
Correct.
Like,
yeah.
where we used it, like we copied the pom.xml inside the pom.xml file. We have to copy that HTTP
Dependency. Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So we need to copy the dependency. See here.
Okay.
This is the dependency.
Okay.
So this dependency, you can add it using multiple ways. Okay. Right click on this project. Okay. If you know all the coordinates, okay, like group ID, artifact ID, everything, if you know, right click, manage dependencies. Okay. Or mule, add Maven dependency. Okay.
Okay.
Add this here directly.
Okay.
Okay. So this is one method. You can
Okay.
directly add the dependency. Second method is right click, manage modules. Okay. And if you click on this mule project, it will show which domain project if you are used.
Okay. Okay. Here it will show the
Yeah. So
domain.
if you select custom domain, automatically it will add dependency in pom.xml.
Okay. In my custom domain, like if I have many connectors, not only HTTP, I have database and everything. Those dependencies will also add, right?
Yeah. See, I am not using HTTP here. Okay, I'm using HTTP listener only in domain. I have HTTP listener configuration only in domain project. Okay.
Okay.
Whatever modules are added here, right?
Yeah.
All those modules will be included in this project also. Okay, as part of see here.
Okay.
In system layer, I don't have dependency for MongoDB or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still, I'm able to see those modules here.
Okay.
Reason is, see, you have created a hierarchy. Okay. So what is the what type of hierarchy you have created is, this is the domain project. Okay. In how many other projects you use, refer this domain project. Okay. Not only domain project, any dependency for that matter, jar dependency. Okay. So if your top level artifact has MongoDB library added, but there is no configuration for that MongoDB. Okay, you have HTTP library added, and there are configurations for HTTP. Okay.
Okay.
If you refer
Okay.
domain project or any jar file for that matter, not only domain project, any jar file. If you
Okay.
refer that jar file here, all these additional libraries that are added are inherited to all these applications that is referring it as a dependency.
Okay.
Understood? Like,
Yeah.
if I'm referring domain project, like I get everything. I get
Okay.
all the libraries linked to that domain project,
Okay.
even though I'm not using it.
Okay. I got it. Got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Understood, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to show how to create template project. Okay, and how to publish it to Exchange, so that if I want to build next set of applications, we don't have to write all this code manually. Okay, we can directly generate it from the template. Okay, so that part, it will take more than 1 hour. So we'll continue tomorrow, but let me know if you have any doubts regarding what we discussed today. Hello.
We have to add those dependencies for sure, right?
Yeah. If you add the dependencies, you can use the configurations, and you can refer the libraries that are there in that jar.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And if we forget to add the dependencies, will it throw an error, or it will not refer
No,
to
it
those?
won't throw an error, but you won't be able to see them. See, during
Okay,
development
okay,
time
yeah.
itself, yeah. Say during development time itself, you need it, right? See, if I don't add a dependency, I'll have to create my own configuration. Okay, I will never be able to see what is there in the domain project.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So we have to add the dependency if you want to use it.
If we are deploying in cloud also, we need to add the dependency.
Sorry.
This will work for on-premises only, right?
Yeah.
For cloud, we need to add, or we don't need?
No, cloud you cannot use domain project.
Okay. There for every
cloud.
this one API, we need to create separately, right?
Yeah. For cloud, you cannot have a domain project. Okay. So cloud will not support shared resources. Only on-premise will support.
Okay, thanks.
In cloud, you can develop each application individually and deploy it. That's it.
Okay, thanks.
Will you say how to deploy in cloud as well? I mean, different APIs.
Yeah.
Experience.
Yeah.
Because in interviews I have mentioned like we deployed into cloud.
Yeah. So first, learn about on-premise. Okay. So
Okay.
once you understand the on-premise concept, like once you understand how mule runtime works, okay, what will happen if I deploy the application? Okay, I'll have to show that next. Okay, what is the anchor.txt file? Okay, if you understand all those concepts first with respect to on-premise, then understanding Cloud Hub becomes easier.
No.
Because Cloud Hub is almost self-explanatory. Okay. There is nothing much to explain also. Like I just need to point out that this is this like that. Okay. But in on-premise has more configurations. Okay. If you understand on-premise configurations and everything first, Cloud Hub becomes very, very easy to understand.
Okay.
Okay. So any more doubts? Okay, so artifact ID is nothing but name given to your project. Your project name itself is artifact ID. Okay.
Jagdish,
Yeah.
Rohit here.
Yeah.
Just wanted to know what is the reason for the for creating my domain.
Sorry.
My domain.
Okay, so domain project, right? See, in all the just now I explained, right? Like in layered architecture, if you are using experience layer, process layer, and system layer, like you need to have listener configuration pointing to different ports. Okay, because in same system you cannot have multiple applications listening for same port. Okay, that's not possible. You cannot deploy. Okay, so if you want to reuse that configuration, HTTP listener configuration, you need to place it in a single project. Okay, you cannot have that listener configuration in multiple projects. Okay, so in order to share those configurations, you need to create a domain project. That is the purpose of domain project. Using domain project, whatever configurations you create, you can share across multiple applications. Okay, so I have created listener configuration in domain project and I have referred in all three layers. So that's why I am able to deploy it in my local system and test it. Okay, else I will get an error saying the address already in use or binding exception. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, understood, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we'll close the call for today. Tomorrow we'll discuss on creating the template project and publishing it to Exchange. Okay, in this layered architecture, we still have error handling. Okay, after explaining the error handling, then we'll learn about template projects.
Okay.
Okay, Jagdish.
Okay.
Okay.